yeah, as I was saying, up above, you'll see there's a collection of tweets, relevant stuff for writers, relevant stuff for me, what I'm working on. All the way to the right, I believe, is the last piece that I released this spring. Relic of the Aztecs. That has been out since April or May, sometime in there. I think May. And started that last year as part of a writing challenge. I find that stuff to be valuable in general. Just trying to branch out. Obviously, like fiction is new for me. Have done a slew of nonfiction stuff, but as soon as you begin to focus more on world building and developing characters and stuff like that, I think you have to sharpen a completely different set of skills. So that is what I've been working on over the last, let's say, 2 years, loosely. After that is the space I hosted yesterday, Writer's Block. I do that on Tuesdays, usually with Heidi, but she is out for this week and next week. Unfortunately, she's traveled to Tennessee to take her son to college. So just trying to keep up with that stuff, and have brought in some guest co-hosts to hang out in the meantime, and keep addressing topics that are relevant for them as well as the audience in general over there, because it's kind of a different audience. Obviously, like, it's daytime or morning. I think there's a lot of West Coast people that are on there, and then a little bit more oriented towards themes. We try to pick a theme every week, and I would say it kind of services people that are looking to get into writing or starting to write, to make them aware of the craft in general, I suppose you would say, as opposed to anybody that is already publishing or has material out, stuff like that. You might find some of that to be a little bit cursory. I'm not saying that everybody knows everything. I certainly don't, but it's good for me to review all of that information to sharpen up as I continue to branch out, getting away, let me rephrase. I'm not getting away from journalism, but I am adding on to the general kind of reporting journalism background of material that I've kind of established as I get into fiction and doing short stories, and then hopefully getting into some longer material. Next year, I plan to release my longest short story. It's about halfway done with the first draft as it is. So that'll be like 6,000 words, which isn't incredibly long, but it is long and challenging for me because it's going to be part of a trilogy of stories. So it basically, it'll be somewhere between 18,000 and 20,000 words total between those three stories. And then if I want to do more, that'll be available too. It's basically just kind of like what I had mapped out in terms of a story arc to get started and really explore longer stories and episodic storytelling in a fictional world that I'm creating there. Let's keep going. Let's keep looking at what else is up there. Oh, Pied Piper. If you haven't watched that yet, if you haven't watched the Pied Piper of Hamelin, the fairy tale AI short film narrative video that I made with Chrissy Pressman, definitely watch that. That came out very good. Her work on the video clips is, top notch, really. If you're paying any attention to what's happening in that space compared to where it was a year ago or even 2 years ago, it has very rapidly developed over the course of the last, let's say, like 5-6 months, as I've been focusing on it with the group of filmmakers that I'm working with in our collective. And that's kind of like the most recent piece that we've released. And it was preceded by a 3-part documentary series where we go into investigating the history and various versions of the Pied Piper story. Wrote all of that as well. So, there's all kinds of different styles of writing. And I would say no matter where you're coming from or where you're trying to go to, you're probably going to utilize a variety of those skills along the way to accomplish, what you are trying to put out there. I know I do. The ability to research is valuable in nonfiction and fiction. I do a lot of researching for fiction, reading about things, trying to make sure that I'm not making mistakes about historical things or trying to understand facets of minutia that I don't know and to write about it as authentically as possible. There's only so much we can do in a day or in a lifetime. So you kind of have to find a way to make all that stuff work for you, I would say. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, also the last session of writing, publishing, and authorship is available as a podcast. I do record these sessions and release them into the wild. They have always come out on the Monday before the Wednesday session that we're in now. So that one was released on Monday. You'll find it on Speakercone. I kind of brand it that way so that it has its own existence over there. Additionally, I am finishing up my next release, which will be The Fall of Tartaria. I've done the audiobook reading performance of it, have not done any editing. Have finished the ebook. Actually, it is loaded up to KDP and have been doing the cover design today. So hopefully getting pretty close to something finalized there. That's always a challenge. I don't consider myself to be a strong designer, but I do it. And, hopefully it works in general. The story is based on the video that I released in the spring. I think that came out April 1st. So it's a conversion of that video, AI video that I did. And it kind of expands on a lot of the material that's in there, because you can only do so much within an ebook or a video. You want to show in a video, whereas in the book version, I kind of have to tell about those things. So I have to write about them because there are pictures in it, but there aren't as many pictures, obviously, as what the video was based on. So trying to bring a lot of that video to the page was the task I set for myself there. And basically to describe what's happening on screen in an effective way, hopefully. And that is slated for release on Monday. So if I can get all of that stuff loaded up, I will be promoting that. I've put it up there as kind of like available for pre-order, but it's not available today because I haven't finished all the files yet. So I'm trying to get all that stuff done. Hey guys, if you are interested in coming up to stage, request a mic and, I'll bring you up and we can talk together as opposed to just listening to me talk. I was going over some of the tweets that are loaded up into the Nest. So those are available to get a look at. They are a collection of either recent projects or the recording of this last session. I record them locally and then release them as podcasts. You'll find them via Speakercone. And it's usually, it's on Spotify and YouTube and Apple Podcasts, Pandora. I think Amazon's podcasting service has it as well. Try to make it as broadly available. Make these sessions kind of like a one-shot thing here on Twitter. If you're here for it. If you're not, then you can catch it in 2 weeks when I put it out as a podcast. That's what's happening here today. I record and then do a little bit of production, clean it up, and put it out. Who's hanging out today? Yeah. Again, if you guys want to come up, or if you have questions, if you can't come up and you have questions about things, you can drop questions or comments into the pill, and I'll be happy to address all of that stuff as we go. As I said before, it's always better as a conversation than just me talking at you. Which, hey, if that's what you want, I'm happy to do that for the time we have. But I think it does work a lot better if we're actually having an exchange about the things that you're concerned with, or if you want to promote your work, obviously happy to talk about those things. And if you come up, you can put them up into the nest, and then it'll be there for folks to see, which is nice because then they can click in and get a look if you've got links on it. I'm doing a series of workshops as well with the writer's block once a month. So that is basically kind of coinciding with Heidi and I releasing our new work, and it'll be kind of a way for us to check in with our progress on that material, but then also to help other folks as they go along, to give them a chance to orient their progress and promote it, or discuss where they have blockages for their work progress or their process and things like that too. So we're doing that once a month. Usually, I think they're usually going to be scheduled for like the third Tuesday of the month. So it'll be in 2 more weeks. We'll have another check-in. Obviously, Fall of Tartaria will be out by then, but she's working on an audiobook. I am working on volume 3 of Exploring Our National Parks. That'll be an ebook and paperback and audiobook that'll be available. I'm shooting for probably the first or second week of November right now. That's my goal, just given kind of other deadlines that I have in place. And then also wanting to get it out before Thanksgiving, so I can get it off my plate before the holidays and everything come along, which once people start getting busy with that, is difficult to try and finalize work or to fit in major projects in between Thanksgiving and the end of the year. Seems like we always kind of get bogged down with social obligations at that point in the year, so I want to get my work done before then, personally. And I think Heidi's shooting for that as well. I think she was talking maybe October or November at the latest for her audiobook, and it's quite long. Her book is like 400 pages long, so she's splitting it up, the reading, with her and a guy, Positively Chris, on Twitter. So, in that way, she doesn't have to necessarily do all of the performance, but she is doing all of the production, which is, it's a lot of work. Editing audio is like one of my least favorite things to do. I don't mind the finalized production, but I don't really derive a lot of joy from going through all of the mistakes and alternate takes of a book reading. Sometimes it's kind of wild when you're doing it. Sometimes you'll just get stuck on a phrase and like you'll start it 10 times and it just never rolls off the tongue properly. Other times you will have a phrase and you don't necessarily like how you've read it, or you read it once and then you say, I want to inflect something a little bit differently, and you'll give it a shot a few different ways and say, all right, well, I've got a couple different takes here. I know that one of them will work, or maybe I'm not totally sure between two or three of them, whatever. And when you go back to the editing process and listening back, you can kind of say like, okay, I really like that one particularly, and I think it follows the previous line and sets up the next line the best. Sometimes you go back and you're listening to it and you say, I like the first half of this version and I like the second half of that version, and then you kind of smash them together with creative editing. So I don't mind doing that stuff, but gosh, let's say the most recent reading I did was Fall of Tartaria, and it's not an incredibly long story, but that session took 35 minutes to do the reading because of all these things that I'm saying. You want to try lines different ways. Sometimes you get stuck up on a line. Sometimes you get distracted for a minute because something happens on your phone and you have to pay attention to that for a second. Or maybe you make a mistake and bump something and that incidental noise interrupts a take. Stuff happens, and you have to kind of work around that. And, I am the same as anybody in that way. I'm doing all of the engineering for the session while I am doing the performance. So it's very much a DIY scenario. And, I think that people can do that. I think anybody can accomplish that if you have the technology, both the hardware and the software and the will and the time to accomplish it. You can produce audiobooks for yourself on your, based on your material. You could do audiobook readings of other people's material, but you probably shouldn't sell it. You should not sell it. Not that you probably shouldn't sell it. You should not sell it unless you're authorized to or have been hired to do it. In that case, what's up, Gonzalo? We're just hanging out, just talking about some of the stuff up in the nest. If you want to come up, request a mic and I'll bring you up. If you want to share posts, stuff you're working on, obviously feel free to do that as well. Was just talking about audiobook recording, voice recording. Obviously you have experience with that as well. And was just kind of talking about, I got a request. Hold on, here we go.
So yeah, it's been basically a writing day. So I've completely lost track of time, forgotten what day it was. Yeah. And then I saw a couple of new inbox, a couple of new DM notifications, and I saw yours, and I was like, "Oh crap! It's time."
What did you write?
Right now, like all morning, I've been working on the Salvador script. I'm on page 13. I've been neglecting it for almost a month. Well, part of that was because I was away, but I've been away from it for far too long. So I'm working on that, and then the rest of the afternoon, I have to work on another script that a client is waiting on too. And then tomorrow, a third script that I'm starting up on. I've got like 3 comic book scripts going on at the same time, which is really, really cool. And then one deep dive that I'm going to be working on as well that I have to do this month. So that's what's on my plate so far.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, plenty. I feel like even 13 pages is pretty legit. Like you didn't start it that long ago. So 13 pages is pretty strong.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm basically going off the outline that I've been working on for months. Like that, the outline did take a while, just to figure out what goes first, what goes next, what goes last, like the actual attack sequence, who hits who first, and what's missing, adding in a little scene here, a little scene there, just to make sure it all lines up. That's what took me the longest. Like, that's what I've been working on since probably April, March or April, around there. And so like, it's already kind of been cooking in the background in my mind, and now the script is basically just going through that and kind of like rendering. You know, if you ever worked on 3D, this is like the rendering process, mm-hmm. almost, where I'm just, making it nice and writing it scene by scene. I know what comes next, so I now just got to write that scene. Now I know what's next, I write that other scene, and that's basically what I'm doing now.
How many pages is your outline?
The outline's like a page, literally.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's like, it starts with a hook in the middle of the attack. That's all it says. And then I got an A line and a B line. So I got A1, Salvador opens his eyes and freaks out a little bit. That's all it says. And then A2 is the process where he shuts him down. And then B1 is like the first part of the first look at where the bad guys are getting ready and like figuring out that this is the next lad to be targeted. So it's all just like bullet points, basically, down, all the way down, mm-hmm. where I figure out, part one, like it's like part 1 through 8 of of each sequence for A and for B. I made sure that nothing was going to waste. Like, there was nothing there that didn't need to be there, and just figuring out who's who and all that stuff. And now I'm just writing lines, basically writing like the dialogue, the shots, the type of shots that I want. And I'm going through, like, I'm constantly going back through it too, just making sure that nothing is just trying to trim it down as much as I can.
That's kind of funny to phrase it that way, because you're trimming it down while you're building it up. Yeah. Because
I did the last 12 pages a while ago, a few weeks ago. So when I started up today, the file, the first thing that I did was go back to page 1 and start reading it.
Reviewing.
Making sure that because it's fresh eyes now at this point. So I looked through it. I changed a little bit here, a little bit there. I didn't change too much. And now I was just writing. I was on page 13. And it's a lot, because 13 pages, like 13 manga pages, is like every page that I add is like another $100-ish added to the budget. So I had to make absolutely sure that if I had a page, that it has to be there.
In terms of like the graphical work?
Illustration. Yeah, the illustration.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it's, it's costly to do image illustration, graphical production. I thought before you were doing some of that yourself.
I was doing a little bit of the character design.
Okay.
But I decided to let someone else take care of that, because I don't have that much experience in illustration, and it's also a style issue too. Like, I don't have a lot of experience doing manga style characters, and I was right, because as soon as I gave it to someone, his name is Rune King, he took it and just, like, all I did was kind of direct him a little bit with it, and the images that he's brought back are just far superior to anything I would have done. And it took me a long time to do it. So it's better to, just to stick to what I have more experience doing, and let someone else take care of it. Because if, like I've said before, like if I do try to take on everything myself, I'm going to be turning 95 and going, hey guys, first issue's out.
Yeah. No, I know.
Time for my 95th birthday.
Right.
So
No, I mean, perfectly reasonable to tackle it that way. And then additionally, like, you gain somebody else who's involved with the project. If they have an ecosystem for promotion or additional networking, you gain that as well.
Yeah, a little bit. He's part of the same D-Reader community that I'm in. So what's cool about that is that we all kind of know who's working on what. And it's better for me to go, hey guys, check out what Rune King's been working on, because they all know him. So it helps with that.
Did you say D-Reader?
D-Reader, yeah.
What is that?
It's imagine like Comixology or like Kindle.
Okay.
But for comics, and all the comics are on the blockchain, so they're actual digital assets that you can own. Okay. If you have a book on Kindle that you really love and you want your friend to read, you can't lend it to them because it's on your Kindle, it's on your account. You can't like treat it as a thing that you can send to someone and have them send it back.
Yes, you can, if the author enables that.
Yeah, but it's a whole list of things. I mean, there are only some of them are enabled for this. I mean, like if you buy a book at the bookstore, you don't need the author's permission to lend it to a friend. You know what I mean? You bought it, it's yours. You can trade it. You can give it away to someone. If like in Kindle, if the author doesn't authorize it, you can't do it. So it's not really yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the sense that all of the material coming through Kindle, unless you've downloaded it locally on a hard drive that you have total control of, like, I can update my ebooks and that will update the version that people have on their devices as well. So that's kind of, valuable in a sense, because if you don't necessarily like a first edition that you put out, you can update it or change images, clean up text or whatever. I did that at the beginning of this year with all my books. So anybody who has ebooks on their devices got a freshly updated version. If you have the paperbacks, well then, that's ownership culture. The people that have like the first edition version of the 1893 book, that's a finite set of people. And then since then I've expanded the book a little bit, changed some images, and the people that are buying it now are getting a slightly revised version. So
it's like the second edition.
I'm on the third now of that one, because I've changed it. I've changed a few things a couple of times. The second edition, I changed the cover and a little bit of material inside. And then the third edition, I put a case study in there, and then I put in some of the photos that I had colorized with AI in there. And, not all of the images did I do that to, but it was enough to make it worth doing that and adding the case study in there and cleaning up some other editorial issues throughout, and I did that in January. So if you were wanting to get like a collector's edition and you had the first edition, then you kind of have something like that. If you wanted,
it becomes a collectible.
Yeah, I guess to a degree. If you wanted one of the more, cutting edge updated versions with all the new graphics and the case study about the project, which has expanded a lot since 2019 when I put out the book, and I felt it was important to put some of that information in there to address the project at large. The third edition gets into that material where it's, talking about the documentary and some of the extended reality stuff that I've done with that, 3D printing, premiering the movie in downtown Chicago at the Chicago Filmmakers Theater, stuff like that. So that, I feel like doing those sorts of things is valuable. I didn't put like a forward in or anything like that. That seems a little highfalutin to me at this point, but, being able to add material in and expand the text or the images and stuff, because I keep learning new things or I keep working on new aspects of the project. Again, there's another side of it too. As I release more books, the page that has, you know, all of my books listed there, I can update that as well, so that people that are getting the new editions are aware of some of the other material that I'm releasing. Hey guys, if you're hanging out, just listening, that's fine. If you have questions, you can drop them in the pill, or comments, you can drop them in the pill. If you want to come up and talk, grab a mic. This is an open stage. We're just hanging out. Do this every 2 weeks. You know, Gonzalo's here talking about his manga. I would say if you have work that you're working on releasing, or concerns or comments, this is a perfectly nice space to voice some of those issues. We don't necessarily make any agenda or theme on this. It's, you know, the conversation goes where we want it to.
So I like the ability to update your book automatically to everyone who has it. Here's the thing that's cool about having books or comics like this on chain too. Like you can, I'm not sure if you can update the book. I think you can, but even if you can't, what you can do, because it's on the, you know, it's public information, public information. You can have, as a creator, you can have a list of all the wallets that have your book, and you can automatically airdrop them the new edition of that book as a special gift for having owned the first copy, which is basically the same thing as updating it, except now they have two, right? They can have like the first edition as and keep it at kind of like a collectible if you want to see it that way, and and give them, you know, as a thank you, the second edition with updated this and this and that. You can let them know what's new there and everything. So that's doable there.
Yeah, you can take snapshots of all the wallet holders.
Yeah, exactly. So anyone who's given it away, then the person who has it now is the one who gets the special edition, or the second edition, or the third edition.
Or you could even do a snapshot of like first edition holders, and then give those people only like the second issue if you wanted.
Exactly. Yeah, you can reward them because you know what wallets currently are in custody of your book, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I plan on doing is selling it on D-Reader as a digital collectible, but I also plan on investigating how to sell it on Kindle as well, in parallel, just because not everyone is on chain, right? Not everyone is in Web3, and I think it's still cool to be able to read it on your tablet, on your Kindle. The price point will probably be a little bit different. I haven't figured out that part yet. I have to finish writing it first.
Yeah, so, for sure.
But I am thinking about that. I'm thinking about releasing it on both platforms, because what's cool about D-Reader is that they don't take any of the IP. It's still yours. So there's no exclusivity clauses or whatever. And if Kindle does have anything like that, sorry.
Well, you can choose if you want to make something a KDP exclusive, and you'll get a higher percentage of the payout, or you can choose to not do exclusivity. It's really easy, actually, and so if you use Kindle Create, there's like 3 different options on there for making a package to upload for an ebook on KDP. And there's one of the options is for graphic novel comic books. So like, I would say even in these early stages while you're working on this, you might want to download that piece of software and just get a look at it, so you kind of know like what's in store for you in terms of working with that software in advance of releasing it, just so you're not like pressed for time or whatever. And obviously, like, you know me, and I've done X number of releases. I use Kindle Create for all of my ebook versions. So I'm happy to help walk you through the process. It's very easy.
Let's see. Kindle Create. Amazon.com/Kindle Create. Creating a professional quality ebook has never been easier. So that's the name, right?
Kindle Create. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Free download for PC, download for Mac.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll download it. Check it out.
Yeah, it's very easy. Hey, welcome to New Folks Hanging Out, JG. If you are interested in coming up and talking about your work, or just the shoot the breeze, as it were, you're welcome to do that as well. This is a super casual space. We do it every 2 weeks. It's not in any sense high pressure or no major agenda or anything like that. When you first came in, I was actually talking about like audiobook stuff, and I know you've done a bit of voice work and things like that too.
Yeah.
I just learned about, so this is a thing that you can do with Kindle Create as well. You can actually put in sound effects and video and audio, music, and all kinds of stuff like that. You can embed it right into the file for people to be able to have like additional components of experience with it too, which is pretty cool in my opinion.
What's
up with you guys? I was just eating lunch and trying to figure out why my mic wouldn't work. But
what did you eat?
Steak and rice.
Nice. Good lunch. What are you working on?
So what is, well, at work, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at work right now, I'm just editing photos, but I guess in my personal time, I'm just writing, fiction stories. So I am always curious how to market these things because I plan on doing that, but like straight up, I have no idea where to even begin.
Have you released them in any sort of physical format or
no?
Okay. So that might be the place to start, like thinking about putting out a paperback of a collection of short stories, or you could even individually, like, I think you're on Substack and stuff, right?
Yeah, I have a Substack and I do plan on putting a lot of my stuff on there, but that's really it.
Yeah.
I've messed with WordPress before, but I've never been married to anything for any long amount of time. So
for me, like, I am now just taking my short stories straight to Amazon KDP and releasing them on there because like I've got like enough of a catalog where it's like I've got 2 books that are in the Exploring Our National Parks series, 3rd one coming out later this year. I've got the Chicago 1893 book. I've got the 2 like branding marketing books. And now I've got a couple of fictional short stories to kind of supplement in there. So like for me, I want to continue to put out material there so that that's kind of like where people can expect to find my work, and that when they buy any one thing, they're getting recommended and becoming aware of all of the other things. And the same thing goes for like the audiobooks. So when I'm producing the ebook or a paperback, I do an audiobook reading as like a final proofing step, and I record it, and then that becomes the audiobook. So like a month or 2 after I put out the paperback ebook release, I'm putting out my audiobook, and in that way it like continues to build that catalog of material. And the cool thing about like ACX, which is the platform you use to distribute to Audible and Apple Books and Amazon, is you have to request an existing title that's already on Amazon to put out a book on Audible. So when you do that upload and you release the audiobook, it automatically connects it to the ebook and the paperback and hardback versions that are available on Amazon. So if you go and look like on my author page and you go and click on any of my books, you'll see 2 to 3 different versions of each book available on that listing. And again, like that's just kind of expanding your catalog, allowing people to find you in different ways. And, for me, that's just kind of like, that's the speed that I'm at right now. I really like what I saw with Royal Road for people that are working on longer form books and are looking to serialize it. That definitely is a great mechanism. But
what is Royal Road?
It's a website. So I think it's royalroad.com. It's for
Yeah.
like fanfic or people that are, again, like serializing the release of chapters of a longer book, and you can build an audience there, and they have some kind of partnership or integration of Patreon. So you can basically like use Patreon for monetization of your Royal Road releases. That is not viable for me because I don't have any very long fiction. But for people that are releasing books, like for example, Heidi, who I host the Writer's Block with on Tuesdays, her next book, it might be a really good method for her to build up an audience there in advance of releasing the whole book on Amazon to create her series, because she already has her first book out on Amazon. And in that way, you can kind of build up anticipation, build up audience, and then, migrate them over to the completed book on Amazon. And that, it really depends on like
it all
what
feeds
kind of
into it.
Yeah, like what kind of models you want to explore and what kind of material you release. If you release a lot of really short stuff, Kindle Vella is out there. I didn't want to use it because I don't like their monetization strategy compared to just producing an ebook and being able to couple it with my existing catalog. That made more sense for me. But I would say like you really want to think about like, well, what do you have and how do you want to release it? If monetization is important to you or valuable to you, think about what that looks like, and that might determine the channels that you want to utilize for distribution.
Okay. Let's say my like desire is exposure over everything. What would you do if that was your approach?
Then I think that like the Substack stuff is good. Because you can build an audience and you can also collect emails. So you can build an email list there, and you can send all of your material directly to people's email inbox. So in that sense, like you gain those assets. Obviously people can like change their their email at any time they want. So like, you're not necessarily always having like the freshest data there if they are anon or they like, have a throwaway account that they use for that kind of stuff. But at the same time, hey, if you have
an audience there.
You have an audience there. It costs no money to utilize. You can also get subscriptions on Substack. So like I have a few subscribers, like paying subscribers on Substack. So I consistently make sure that I put out something over there, whether or not that is like exclusive material, or just kind of like pieces of other content that I release. If you notice, I kind of have like a general schedule of like podcasting stuff that I do, or like original content of my own that I'm putting out books for, or videos and things like that. So I'm making sure that like those people that are subscribed to me are getting something delivered to their email since they are paying me to do that.
So they're not just throwing money at you for nothing.
Right.
Like,
yeah. JG, you're up on stage. You're hanging out. Do you have any thoughts or comments or questions or things you want to promote?
Thanks for inviting me to speak, and nice to meet you all. Just was curious because I saw the title and thought it was cool to jump in. Just the marketing thing. Anytime somebody says marketing, I'm intrigued. I do most of mine just through ads now, and specifically X ads, because Amazon is just a money grab, in my opinion. It's really hard to find sort of the perfect balance there. But X, I've seemed to tweak it enough over the last year. I started last October and just kept changing them up slightly, just, change one thing, different, playing around with it. And I've got it to the point now where I don't pay for them. So like I make enough to cover and make a profit. So
nice.
Yeah.
What's
and
your
I feel that's where we want to be.
Absolutely.
I don't have a recent number. So about 6 days ago, I started a new has anybody ever used these before? So like your goal can be different.
Yeah.
And so
I've
in
advertised
October,
on social a lot.
Okay, cool. So October, and all the way up until the end of May, when I did another one that was successful, my goal was always link clicks. I wanted them to go directly to Amazon, and I didn't want to pay unless they did that. And that was working really well. But then I had an ad that I was running for about 60 days. And my goal was if I had 2 days in a row where I didn't sell, like several books or one book or whatever, then I would change up the ad. And so finally I started that on May 20th, May 19th, and then that ran for 60 days. That was the longest run that I had where I sold something every day.
Nice.
And so that was successful with the X ads.
But yeah,
I just changed it up. I do. Yeah. It's still running. So I bid 1 cent on those ones.
For a click through?
You got it. Yeah.
You're crushing it. That's incredible.
Like I said, I hope Elon never hears me, but I'm not paying them anymore because it's to the point where I usually bid 1 or 2 cents for a link click. And that one's at about 6.5 million views since May 19th. The recent one, like I said, 6 days ago, I was listening to some people on here saying that the goal should be reach.
No. 100%.
Right? No. So, but get this.
That's popularity contest.
I know, but so 6 days ago, I thought, you know what? I'm going to do one. And again, I'm going to bid 1 cent per 1,000 impressions. And I've sold every day since starting this one. And I've spent maybe 26 cents. So,
okay. So you've hit 26,000 people?
You got it. Yeah. So it's working in terms of reach. Now, sales, obviously, you don't get 26,000 sales.
Of course.
But you get more than what you're paying. So I figure if you spend, a quarter, you should get. But that click-through rate, 15 sales or something. So
yeah, I suppose. But that conversion rate, like that click-through rate is abysmal.
It is. It's bad. It's bad. But I was on a podcast and I kept saying that I should be riskier, but I'm just not willing to risk a lot. So it's like I spend the 25 cents, I sold 15 books in 6 days. I was really happy with that because I made a profit, right? Mm-hmm. It's all profit basically. So off of that specific ad, I'm running other things and stuff like that, but that specific one, that's what it did. So, other people will say, well, why don't you then increase your bid or why don't you run 5 of those? You know what I mean? Like they're always about increasing. And I just love to hear what other people have to say about that because I'd rather just spend the 25 cents and then make money.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you have that tweet, post it up in the Nest so we can get a look at it.
Yeah, I'll find it. It was in May, and so it's in my highlights, but I'll have to go back and take a look.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you want me to just reply to the...
you can do that, or you can just post it up in the Nest so everybody can see it. Okay. That way they can scan through. But additionally, here's another thing that you need to factor in, too, because you're paying for premium Twitter. So that is an additional cost that you need to separate out across a month as well.
Exactly.
And it's not a lot.
Yeah. And it's not a lot. And that's what I said in that podcast. So say it's about $15 Canadian because our dollar's worthless. So, essentially that again, with the sales that I just made in 6 days, way more than covered that. Right. So
do you have to, have more than the basic Twitter account, like the cheapest premium Twitter account to do ads? I don't know. I haven't looked at it.
No, it's Canadian, it's $15. And that's I don't have the professional one. There's a professional one. I haven't looked into that because I think it was, I don't know. It was just beyond my budget.
Yeah. So I'm looking, right? Okay, so in the US, let's look here. There's the basic, which is $267 a month if you buy it annually. If you buy it monthly, it's $3, $8, and $16. But they don't tell you if you need any particular tier to advertise. So what are you getting? Half ads in for you, get paid to boost. What are you getting from the middle premium tier that you feel is worth the upsell?
That's a great question. I don't think I had the reach that I did before I had it. Okay. Like, I don't think I mean, I have a lot of followers too. I've been playing this game since 2018. So slow growth, organic, engaging. Like I haven't bought that. It's all being on here and being active on a regular basis, right? So, just trying to be a positive account.
Follow though too, I'd imagine.
I have about, I think I have 45 or 47 that I'm following. So about half of my own followers. Like, I'm almost at 100K. So, like, for every one two people that follow me, I follow one back. At the start, I did a lot of follow for follow. Now I try just to follow back creatives.
Yeah. What does your timeline look like? Absolute madness. You're just getting like,
I'm almost at 1 million posts. So yeah, I'm pretty active on here.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what do I get from the premium? I don't know. I feel the ability to advertise sells me books. I think anyone who thinks that they can sell a lot of books without any form of advertising, or, like you said, some form of newsletter or, something else that equals that, I think they'll learn pretty quickly that that's just false.
Yeah, I would agree
in my
with
opinion.
That.
My opinion.
Yeah, that's all fair.
Yeah. There's reasons why Nike and McDonald's advertise.
Right. Yeah, 100%. Part of it is for awareness, but the other part of it is for suppression.
Yeah.
So it's kind of twofold. I'm not seeing that it says you have to have any particular tier on there to advertise. But again, it's been a while since I looked. Let's see. Here's ads. I'm opening up the ads thing.
I mean, my pinned right now is an ad.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one I'm doing for reach instead. Like, I'm testing it out, right? So that one I started in July 21st. And I just tried something different instead of just link clicks. I think my goal used to be link clicks and then pay by link clicks. This one, I think I did goal, link clicks, and pay by impressions. So I just tried to change it up slightly.
Sure.
And see.
You can A/B test those same things too, to where you could have the exact same tweet with one goal or two goals, and then you can kind of see which one is working better, and then basically just, let's see, create campaign simple.
And that would probably be better, because what I do is I create a whole new ad, new image, new ad copy and everything. So then it becomes slightly, it's more difficult then to say, well, yeah, it was the same book, but all that other stuff changes who's going to be interested, right? So
I don't think you have to be subscribed.
Then everyone should be advertising on here, but they should just ask questions of people who are advertising so that they don't spend money. Right? Don't ever bid anything above like a couple cents.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I advertised on Twitter, but like, my next piece is getting released on Monday. Maybe I'll push. I'll try your method and go like the absolute cheapo one penny for a click through, which is just absolutely insane.
Set it up on a laptop. Phone doesn't allow you to do the advanced setup options.
Right. No, I wouldn't even.
So you want to be on advanced, and you want to like just go through every little aspect of it and really tweak it. But give it a shot and tell everybody how it goes.
No action needed. Campaign.
Does anybody else want to talk? I'll.
No. This is
mute my mic.
This is all good.
I am quietly listening and learning and taking notes, because this is fascinating, JG, to be able to advertise for a penny and make sales. I'm writing it down. Do you have like a tweet anywhere that you've made where you explain where you talk about how you do it?
No.
She just did. She just told you.
I just do this. I just talk to people and just share it. I mean, I have a Fiverr gig where I can do it for you, but it's like, it's rock bottom. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to teach people how to do it themselves so that indie authors with very little budget, if any, can do this and not pay the people who own these companies. It's like, you should get paid for your own work, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Where are you doing the targeting for what? Because I'm not even seeing that. Targeting features.
Did you click on an ad you already have and click promote?
No.
By any chance? Okay. So you went in and advanced is on the right hand side.
I am
That's
in
what you
the
did?
ads.x.com platform.
Okay. Yeah, mine's always open here. So if you go to create a campaign on the right, is that what you did? Top right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you go in there, you click on advanced.
Optimized targeting has been automatically enabled. How do I disconnect that?
Oh, you're way ahead of that then. Yeah. So which did you pick? Did you pick like website traffic or what'd you pick?
I clicked on engagements, right? Should it be website traffic?
Yeah. Website traffic is the one where they have to click and actually go to Amazon.
Gotcha.
I mean, engagement, you would get charged even if they just replied, cool book, and then you get charged for even bot replies and stuff.
Yeah. I clicked the wrong
But
one.
website traffic's the one I said I started in October. And then by around July, it started to I just felt like I wanted to try something different. And so that's why I'm doing the reach one right now, and have been successful so far. But I think a fresh ad always does better, right? They get stale. So I'll have to see like in another week or so if it's still doing well, then I know that.
But I'm not seeing how you're changing the budget.
On the second page, where you, like after you put in your credit card information and all that, on the second page, it says like untitled at the top, ad group details.
No, I don't have that.
So did you have the one that said campaign details then?
I've got
like
choose objective, create ad, customize delivery. So maybe I'm not in the right thing.
So are you able to go all the way back
Okay,
to
here we go.
dashboard?
So I had simple and advanced. You're talking about using advanced. Okay, that didn't pop up for me the first time.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because they'll just it's like Amazon when they say they'll set up a default one for you and then they just make all the money. That's what it is. It's like everything will be kind of pre-programmed. They'll even put like $100 daily cap for themselves. Twitter will. Mm-hmm. So if you use advanced, my daily cap is $2.
Yeah.
And I never spend that. It's like always lower than that.
Nice.
But I'm not willing to part with any more than that.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, now I see it. Yeah, I can definitely mess with that. I don't have to pick your brain about it, but yeah, that's valuable. And I would say when you are using that sort of thing, because I have not looked at their ads platform in a very long time and they have updated it considerably. Obviously like the stuff that I would advocate or have advocated for more in the past is like Facebook. I find their ad targeting and audience and everything to be interstellar, on the level with Google pay-per-click. Obviously Google is a scam at this point because you're dealing with search and all the other distribution channels that they do across the board. I don't find Google to be a good platform unless you are heavy into SEO. But,
and I don't have an author Facebook account. So for me, it was kind of like, X never used to work either, by the way. Like before the new ownership, it didn't work. So I just thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot. Because Amazon, I can get it to work, but it's just not as effective. Like I can sell, but you're still going to spend a little bit more. And at the end of the day, I kept saying that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for us to lose money consistently for this. You have to make money at some point. So last October, I was like, okay, I'm going to actually put a lot more time and effort into that. And I'm going to use this platform just as the one to test it out. So it took a few months, I'll be honest. But again, my cap was so low that I didn't really lose much. Right. It was a good experiment. So
here's a question for you. So if you're bidding for like 1 or 2 cents for a click through, and you have a daily cap of $2, you're never hitting your cap.
No.
Okay. Just to
rarely. Sometimes, like there'll be some days where I will. Like with that one ad that I started, I said, I think it was May 19th. That was the one that I kind of went with a different look for the ad than I ever had before. And because my book's such a mashup that I tried to kind of like target a new demographic for it. And it worked. I mean, and it was, I already said 60 days. It was an experiment that I would leave the ad up and I wouldn't change it. Because I had also been telling everybody, oh yeah, you got to change your ad every 7 days or so because it gets so stale. It doesn't work. And that was true. But then I put this new one up and it was 60 days. And then I had, I think 3 days in a row where I didn't sell. So I was like, okay, I'm scrapping that because that was my pledge to do that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to put a new one up. And I have. So now I'm kind of going to do the same thing. So that one was July 21st. So I haven't had more than 2 days in a row without a sale since then. But yeah, if anyone is ever setting one up and wants like somebody to walk through it with them, just DM me. If I'm on, I can certainly help answer questions. Yeah.
Very cool. I would say, I messaged you and I want, if you haven't posted those particular tweets here, like send them to me because I want to look at them and see what you're doing design wise. I don't think it's going to be too elaborate. I imagine you're just like, here's the thing, buy the thing, click here to do that.
Yes. Yes, that is true.
Which is, ideal. Don't give people like too much to engage with. But yeah, okay.
They're text heavier than I ever did before, which is interesting too. There's so many like gurus out there that have said all these different things to do with like Amazon ads, and I've tried so many of the advice, and I feel like it depends on your genre. Sure. A lot of it has to do with that, right? And who you're marketing to, the age bracket, and all of that, like how much they're willing to read, and how quick they are to scroll, right? It depends on your audience, I think, how young they are.
When was the last time you released a book?
February.
Okay. Yeah. So you're still in it with this.
Yeah.
How many books do you have out?
9.
Yeah. You've got it. So like you've kind of like started to hit critical mass to the point where like people that are buying one book are buying more.
Yes. Yeah. And I've also have a philosophy of no more free. I'm done with that. And
I don't do that at all.
I know I came to that a long time ago, but I didn't start speaking about it until recently because people are still doing it. I'm charging full price for the book. So that's why I said when there's a series and that's what I'm advertising right now, people are buying all of them. So like I said, like I might spend 25 cents in 6 days on the ad, but the sales are people are buying all 3. So the sad thing is that that's not a lot of people that it represents, right? They're clicking all 3 books and buying them. So it's how to get more people seeing it or clicking it. Because when they do, they tend to buy all of them, which is cool.
Are you advertising the first book in the series or the most recent book in the series?
So that ad I did in May was the most recent, which shocked me that it was getting the attention and the buys, but people were going back and buying the first 2 as well. So cool. The pinned tweet that I have right now is the first one. I changed it up, said, I'll go back to the first, but yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, very cool. No, I'm into it. I'm kind of curious. Oh, there's your link. Yeah. Your tweet is a little crowded. I'll be honest with you. Like it's
exactly. Yeah. But it's so far, like I said, like it's fair. It's really text heavy compared to other stuff.
It's not the text heavy. It's the organization, the layout of your text is hard to read. Just in general, because like everything kind of brushes together and like, okay, you've got the link in there 2 times. You've got 2 different books linked. I see. Okay.
If it's down low enough, you don't pay for that because the preview that people can see on a phone or whatever is only up to the first where it says the price. So I get charged for the link to the book. But then if people actually click and open it up, there's a link to the whole series.
Okay.
So that's why that's there.
So if they click that second link, you're not getting charged.
No.
How do you know that they're clicking that link? Do you have a tracker on there?
No.
Okay.
No.
It just says mybook.to. Okay. Gotcha. I see. Yeah. Very cool. Well, JG, this was good. This was valuable for me and hopefully for other people as well. I have not met you before. I don't think I've seen you on here, but I'm glad we crossed paths today. I do this every 2 weeks, in fact. So I would, very much like to have you back in the future. We can actually talk more about writing and, the craft as opposed to like this very extensive deep dive on Twitter advertising for books, which, I think is equally valuable for a lot of people. You know what? Just really quickly, because I usually only do this for an hour, but I got a request. Lucky winner. I'm going to let you up. Your profile is a little bit scant in general, I would say, but you're topically relevant. So I'm going to let you up, and you got a couple of minutes to talk, and then we'll wrap up the show. Every 2 weeks, I host this space, Wednesday afternoons, if you're in the U.S. On Tuesday, I also co-host a space called the Writer's Block, and I shared a tweet above in the nest for that. But I would say, if you're looking to find it, give me a follow, and then you'll see for when the next one is scheduled. Gonzalo is going to be co-hosting with me on Tuesday, so we'll be back in there on Tuesday. And then, after that, Heidi will be back. She's the typical co-host with me, but she's out right now. And then, we'll be back to our typical schedule. But as for today, I'm going to wrap it up. I very much appreciate you guys for coming and hanging out, and we will talk again before too long.